General Justin J. August with his close friend Ira G. Mabuto, now a licensed dentist. Not far from them was Isa Solis, a celebrated professional singer and songwriter in the country, accompanied by her longtime partner and manager, Mike Zelda Bonayo. I also met Principal Soledad, now a registered English teacher, walking alongside her husband, Luke Vincent Pintian, a registered ICT professor.
Laki ko.
Laki mo din. John Raymond Cook, a brilliant mathematics professor at the University of the Philippines Diliman and a successful businessman and investor, accompanied by his partner, Ana May Negreño, a pediatrician whom he had recently proposed to. A night driver had arrived. As I settled into the back seat, I pulled up my phone and scrolled through my social media. The posts that truly captivated me were updates of my classmates. Cynthia Bully is now a licensed professional teacher with her friend Mark Alexis Migula, a registered medical technologist. And Captain John Michael Toledo, a successful captain on the Azamara cruise ship with his close friend Jessamay Alanday, a registered psychometrician. And Earl Justin Abihari, the master engineer of Azamara cruise ship with Princess Marie Vinales, now an excellent head chef. Harry Clarence Migula, now a famous computer engineer, together with his partner, Regine Sumubay, the newly elected governor of the province of Bohol. Likewise, Mark James Fulgurinas, a rising brand model, was enjoying life alongside his friend, Andrea Micah Capriccio, a newscaster. As I continued scrolling through the internet, I saw a news post from the Philippine Star that truly shocked me. My best friend Liza Nistao, now a famous Filipino celebrity voice actor and singer with her longtime husband, Carly Reno, a renowned musical theater performer. I also saw the March Spot, and I also saw posts of batchmates, now a cardiac surgeon, Dr. Jerby Ballara, was working in Canada together with his friend, Dr. Danica Lebres, a gynecologist. The car stopped suddenly. It was stopped profiting. I turned my attention to a billboard. The image of Ivy Paikan, a successful businesswoman, with his friend Clint Penales, a successful entrepreneur. CJ Valleda, an agriculture engineer, was making strides in his field alongside his close friend, Jelilyn Dolorentos, a dedicated environmentalist. Meanwhile, Jimerson Gumagay, now a talented engineer with Chervil Duran, a marine biologist. My driver started moving again, and as I finally stepped They had just won a complex case. Beside them were Jomer Pacomius, now successful lawyer with Ruby Jean Franco, now a corporate attorney. Flipping through the pages, I also saw Jocelyn Elidora, now a Grammy Award-winning singer, pictured with his manager, Sheila May Stallion. At the back of the newspaper were the names of newly registered nurses, including my batchmates, Frances Eva Colendo and Princess May Estrabelli. Before I went to sleep, I opened my cell phone and scrolled through Facebook. I saw a post about a newly opened bakery owned by John Lloyd Capricho and Maria Bella Piccolo. Another post caught my attention. Mark Bill Fulgurinas is now a successful seaman with his wife, Nicole Micatuan, now also a licensed professional teacher. The next morning, I woke up to my alarm clock. The familiar routine of my life unfolding before me. Another day, another life story to be heard. I got dressed and headed out the door. My phone buzzing with a text from Dr. Laika Marie Folieto with her husband, Kenneth Morales, now the congressman of District 1, asking if I was finding the form of dinner. To my excitement, I typed yes, eager to see them. On the way to their home, I saw familiar faces in the billboards. Jess Lilia Pacomius and Lisa Marie Mongay are now renowned fashion models and brand ambassadors. Brian Delata and his close friend are now successful entrepreneurs, making their mark across various industries. I also spotted Noe Valenzuela, accompanied by his close friend, are now market strategists. Role Mark Delata, a software developer, with his cousin Cindy Pinaliat, now a successful flight attendant in Canada. But luck wasn't on my side. My car sputtered to a halt, and there I saw Christopher Pinales and Teresa Kadir, now owning a famous auto repair shop. I quickly pulling over and hurrying inside. Raisa Jean Adaptar, now the manager, greeted me alongside her cousin, Jolie Adaptar, a skilled mechanical engineer. I flagged down a taxi and headed to the hospital for my medical appointment. As I entered the lobby, I saw Dr. Jan Lou Adaptar, now a successful neurosurgeon, working with his colleague. I also saw respiratory therapist Rimolin Pantilio and Cleo Divan Arbuda checking on their patients. Not far from them were Augustus Bremer Vedas and Liza Marie Sumapong are now successful radiologists. I reached my office and settled in with my paperwork. Between appointments, I called Mikhaila Mandame, an environmental planning officer, and Jay Manuate, a senior forestry analyst, to get updates to their ongoing projects. Felix Lapicilias and his colleague is now an environmentalist. We're also coordinating with us. A few minutes later, my executive secretary reminded me of my scheduled meeting with Jailer Romola and his colleague, who are now owners of a sustainable development consultancy. photos even appeared in Times Square in New York. She had been incredibly busy lately with her manager, Bernard McCullough. Before my lunch break, I saw something familiar outside. Flavio Micallevas, now a successful nurse, together with his friend, Apple Abay Abay. I also saw Christian Pipinan, now a successful ophthalmologist, was enjoying a tour with his wife and children. Just before I headed to the restaurant, I heard someone calling me. It was Joseph Espalugo with his partner, Angel Abay Abay. Both were now respected IT professors. I went to the Filipino restaurant near my office. There, I was greeted by the couple Mark J. Machon, a businessman, and his wife, Lyca Joyce Figueroa, a physician. They owned the drive-in restaurant and even treated me to a complimentary meal. While eating in the restaurant, I overheard people talking about Mark Joseph Yala, the youngest caterer in the Philippines, saying he was now proposing to his longtime partner, attorney Julian Macharma, a successful lawyer. As I finished my meal, I thanked the couple and waved goodbye. While walking toward the exit, my eyes caught a familiar figure outside through the glass windows. It was RJ1, now working as an engineer with his calling at the Department of Public Works and Highways. As I stepped out of the restaurant, I noticed Christopher Almenian, now a successful software engineer, sitting with his wife, Shane Lab Wallace, who is now working as a human resources officer. I sat on the nearby bench outside and checked my phone. An email notification had popped up, this time from Whitney Technical Vocational High School. They were inviting me to be a guest speaker for their career guidance program for grade 10 and grade 12 students, scheduled on March 19, 2036. As I entered the gate of Whitney Technical Vocational High School, I was greeted by familiar faces I never expected to see again in these halls. Near the faculty office stood Jason Pena, now a dedicated senior high school English teacher, accompanied by her partner Dominic Ripal, who serves as the school's guidance counselor. A few steps away, Sophia Nicole King, now a mathematics teacher, was walking with Ian Talardo. Nearby were Michael Pugliano and his wife, also a teacher, passed by. And John Jordan Luisen and his friend, also now a professional teacher. And Sam Julius Mulo, together with his colleague, were also teaching. Along the corridor, I saw Jovelyn May Puliente, the brilliant mathematics teacher, together with John Manuel Arantes, now a research teacher. Close by was Selena May Pinolian, a technology and livelihood education teacher, walking beside Rodel Bartolso, her husband, who works as a technician in the And my eyes landed on someone who truly made me stop. Mayflower Colignan, now the proud principal of PTVHS, and standing confidently beside her was her husband, John Paul Toledo, now a mathematics teacher. After the program, the school invited me to join the faculty for lunch. The room was filled with laughter and conversation about our batchmates. John Jasper Arienda with his wife, Dubai were Giancarlo Lamban and Krisha Hamill, the famous actor and model in the Philippines. Also, Alexis James Ledesma, now a captain pilot with Kia Tourist Arabiana, now a flight attendant. As I continued driving, the evening sky painted the streets in shades of gold and amber. That's when I noticed another familiar pair. It was Juris Sapinian, now a seaman, with Junior Isapinolian, a beauty queen who had won a prestigious pageant last year. And John Jobek Villas, a master engineer in a famous cruise ship, with his partner, Aubrey Atkinson, now a physician. Now, it's my turn. Have you ever wondered what I am 10 years from now? Well, I live a life that some may call ordinary. I am an environmentalist and the appointed DNR secretary working every day to protect our natural resources. But my daily routine is anything but typical. This journey, however, is not one I travel alone. By my side are passionate colleagues, fellow advocates, and mentors who guide and challenge me to do better. I reflected on the diverse paths taken by the people I know. One of my closest friends, Franklin Fulgerinas, has carved his own remarkable journey, becoming a successful businessman and millionaire owning a five-star hotel in Dubai. Each story with its challenges